we are going to do. So I just started recording actually. So guys, just for you to keep in mind. So let me just share my screen. So as we know, for the project, in this moment, we just started this stage in which we are going to start collecting information about that design challenge that you guys have chosen, right? So we know that there are three steps that we want to cover throughout this section. The first one is called Understand the Challenge, which is essentially what we were doing yesterday, as we were putting ideas together in order to understand exactly your own topic. So you understand your own topic somehow better, right? And then we are going to be working on the next two sections. So guys, listen up. This is exactly what you got to do. Yesterday you work on, first of all, here in the section that says thoughts, constraints, and barriers. It was all about putting together what you think about your own project. So it's the thoughts that you have, the limits that you see, the limitations in general terms that you expect to have throughout the rest of the semester. So it's essentially about that. We also thought about what we already know about that topic specifically and about the things that we want to know more about. And then we remembered the challenge question we had, right? Which is connected to these thoughts and everything. The next part was basically to identify the people who are going to be somehow related to this project, right? So first of all, the core members, which is the groups, right? The groups in which you are working in this moment, and then the extended team members, which are all these people who can give you a hand when developing the project, but they are not part of your team. So it could be anyone who can explain something important to you, or anyone who could help you somehow. Then we talk about the audience, and we said this term is very, very, very important when we are working on projects. By audience, we mean all the people who are going to receive any sort of benefit. So the audience are those people you are thinking of when you are, thinking about the problem and the design of the project itself. Okay, so the core audience are going to be the people you are going to help, right? If we talk about teachers, for instance, the core audience of teachers in general are their students, right? Because they are the ones who benefit from the teacher's work. And the extended audience, which is optional, there is not always extended audience. That's something you need to say. And the extended audience are those people who would be benefited as part of the benefit this other group receives. So I was giving you an example of a teacher training program. So if you design a strategy or a project in which you are going to train teachers to use technology for education, for instance, your core audience would be the teachers because they are the ones who are benefited directly from your project. But your extended audience would be the students of those teachers, right? That's essentially what we said. So this is where we are, guys. Now we are going to prepare a research, and that's something that we will be doing next week independently. That will be part of your homework for the next week. So the very first thing, as you can see here, they say identify sources of inspiration. And by sources, we mean people. So here, what you gotta put, it's just names of people who can give you a hand with your project. So it could be, look at this. This is super important. It could be users. So it's people who would be benefited. So for example, if you are thinking about designing a course, so the users would be the kind of people that you are designing your project for. There is this other project in which you expect to work with mothers who are in the university. So they would be the users, you see, the people who would use your idea, basically. So that's what we mean by users. So here, you guys can put the names of the people if you already know them. So for instance, somebody in the group, they say, oh, you know what? I've got this friend. She just got a baby last year and she's in the university. So she's one very good example of a person who might need our help, so I can talk to her. You see, that's it. So we would put names. It's all about identifying people that we can talk to. Then we have experts, so it will be people who know about that topic. So for instance, in that same case of that project, in the project in which we are going to work with young mothers or mothers who are in the university, experts could be nurses, for instance, or people who work in kindergartens, you see, people who know about this topic. That would be it. And the extreme users um, refer basically to people. Um, let me just remember what we mean by extreme. Oh, I don't remember exactly. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. But well, we could just leave it in users and experts, because I don't remember exactly what is the difference. I will check it in just a moment, but we can just leave it in users and experts. Let me just try to remember exactly what we meant by that. But the point here, guys, is that, give me a second. We need to basically identify those people. We are talking only about people that would be related to your own project. Um, give me a second. Oh, well, give me a second. I think I'm just, uh-huh. A second. Okay, I just check it again. So guys, for the, oh, give me a second. So for the case of extreme user, basically we refer to a person who would take the benefit, like 100% of the benefit of your project. So let's see an example. In that example that we were checking earlier, so we've got the service we offer is, I don't know, we offer a caring service in which we take care of children of those of mothers who are going to the university, right? That's the service we offer. So our users are those kinds of women. An extreme user would be a person who really, really, really needs our service, a person who's got all the characteristics of our ideal user, let's say. So it would be a person who goes to the university, who's got very little time, who's got one little child. It would be like your perfect user. You see, the perfect user you are thinking of. So it's this person who's got all the needs that you want to supply. What would be the difference between an extreme user and a user? A user could be a person who needs your service, but he or she doesn't need 100% of what you offer. You see, like your service could be good for them, but they don't require everything. You see, for instance, in my case, if I want to go to a cafe, the perfect cafe for me would be a cafe in which they sell a very good kind of coffee, but they got also very well organized spaces for working. That would be the perfect cafe for me, you see. So I would be the extreme user of a cafe that offers those conditions. But if there is a cafe that only serves very good coffee, but the place for work is not that good, I wouldn't be their extreme user, you see, because they don't offer everything I actually need. So in general terms, guys, what we're gonna put here is the names of users and experts that you guys can consult. Okay, so it's the actual names. So that depends on people from the group. So somebody in the group can say, oh, I got 2 people I can talk to. Another person say, I got 1 person I can talk to. But people that you know that could be identified as users or experts or even extreme users. Always remembering that the difference between a user and extreme user is that the extreme user would be a person who needs pretty much everything you offer, which in other words is like that would be your ideal client or user. Okay, then on the right it says identify places of inspiration. So look at this. We are thinking about people who can give us ideas, but we are also thinking about places that can give us ideas. You may remember this activity we did before, which was called the inspirational walk. It is something related. You see, we've got to think about places that can give us ideas about our own project. So for instance, once again, talking about this project in which we are going to offer a service for taking care of children, one place that could give you inspiration would be a park. You go to a park and you see how children interact. That could give you some ideas. There are some other cases in which, for instance, there is this project that has to do with handicrafts and teaching people how to make handicrafts and stuff. What if you go to a fair, you see, and you go to a fair and you see for instance, right here in Usaquén, they got this fair every weekend. And if you go there and you see the products and you see how they sell them and everything, perhaps that could give you also some ideas. So it's just about finding finding places, you see, what they call inspiring locations, locations that can give you inspiration, literally, or analogous settings, which be places that might be similar to the one that you want to create, you see. So if you want to create a service for, taking care of children, well, let's look for a similar place. So you see elements there. You see, so once again, here you simply have to put the names of the places. You see, just the names of the places. And here, just the names of people. Um, go for volume. So here, when we do this first, just put as many names as you want, as many places as you want. And then when you do it, look at this. You have to list them and circle the three or five that you want to engage first. So choose the 3 or 5 that you say, well, these are the most interesting for us to check. Have you got any questions so far, guys?
Teacher, in the case of extreme users, is like is a real person, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, but it's a real person, but it's a person who it's like, as I said, your ideal client is the person who needs everything you can offer. A user could be a person who needs certain percentage of what you offer, you see, but perhaps he or she doesn't need everything you are offering. So thinking about extreme users help you also shape your own idea and understand exactly who you want to work for. You see? So that's essentially it. And once you have done this, this is just like a brainstorming, as you can see. So this is a brainstorming. So you put a lot of names and places, then you circle some. And then once you have circled them, you are going to select the participants, you see? So for instance, if I have selected here 3 people, that's what we're gonna do now. I'm going to describe what kind of user type this person is. So it's just a description, like a name of like user type, for instance. In my case of this project, let me think about other projects. So for instance, there is a project in which you are selling you want to sell candy, for instance. So the user type could be, for instance, a child who like candy. You see, it is as simple as that. A child who like candy, or an old person who like candy. I don't know. It's a kind of user. You just make a little description, and then here you make a little description of that person. Anything that could be similar. So this is a child who is 12 years old. You just make a description of the person. That is it. So just describe the people you are going to talk to. So this is like some bio, like some sort of a bio of the people you're going to talk to. It is as simple as that. You see? So it's just an extension of this part. Here is just a brainstorm. Then you choose 3 or 5, and once you have chosen those people, you will make some very brief descriptions of those people you're gonna talk to. Then they say build a question guide or interview. So as you are going to talk to these people, you are going to think about here about the questions that you want to make to those people. You see, you can use the same interview with all those people. for example. It depends on what you actually want to do. Here it says, what are some specific questions you can ask to open the conversation? So you can put some open questions here and then go broad. What are some questions that can help you start understand this person's hopes, fears, and ambitions? So this is like extensions of the questions that you make here, but you want to go deep. And then the last part, it says probe deep. What are some ways you might be able to dig deeper in the conversation to find even more of the perspective this person has? You see, so it's like you start very specific and then you go broad and then you probe deep, as they say. So you go very deep into the actual feelings of these people. This is very important, guys, because that's what it's going to help you understand better the own problem you have posed and how that problem um, can make can create an actual opportunity for design. And then here the interview name. Remember, as you have selected several people from 3 to 5, that means that you should make a copy of this. This is just for one person. Actually, it says here, make a copy of this for each interview. So if you are going to talk to 3 different people, you should have 3 different copies of this. And what I suggest is that if you are 4 people in the group, well, each one of you should interview one person. It is as simple as that. You see? That's how I would put it. And then this is the same thing, but this is for the places, remember? So question guide, observation. So here you are going to make a list of the things you want to see in that place that you're gonna visit. And then the things that you can do in that place. So for instance, let's say I'm going to go to this fair. I'm going to go to a fair, you see, where they sell handicrafts, for instance. And then it says here, what are some things you want to make sure you observe? So for instance, I want to observe the way the 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 people who make the handicrafts interact with people. I want to see how they interact. I want to listen to how they talk about their own products. I want to see how they display their products, how they place them in their stand. You see, so it's like you make a bullet list of the things that you want to see, and then the things you want to do, because you can go. It's not just about going there and see things and that's it, but you can go and see. You can also talk to people. You can ask about how they make their handicrafts, for instance, you see? So it's like you can do lots of different things. So you make also that list here, okay? So as you can see, guys, the very first thing is to think about the people you can obtain inspiration from and the places you can obtain inspiration from. Once you have done that, you will prepare for that. So first, it has to do with describing the people that you're gonna talk to, and then build a question guide interview, and then an observation. So it's like you will conduct an interview and an observation. If you ask me, guys, I would say each one of the members of the group could make an interview. So that would give you 4 interviews. And regarding the observations, each one could make an observation, or you could, if you wanted, get together and make an observation together or make observations in pairs. Is your decision. There is no minimum nor maximum, although the maximum would be around 5, as you can see here. So it's maximum 5 interviews, 5 observations. That would be the maximum like required, but there is no minimum either. Of course, if you just make 1 interview and 1 observation, that gives you very little information. So that wouldn't be enough. And then before that, this is something we're gonna do next week. So we're gonna do just the planning, but next week we are going to see exactly how we're gonna do that. This is the point, guys. The point is to start doing these interviews and observations throughout the next week. Okay, so on Monday we're gonna check this, and I'll answer questions about this. But the point is to do that throughout the week. That means from Tuesday to Sunday next week. You see, you will apart some time for doing that exercise. So the next week, which means that would be exactly the first week of October, starting the 4th. we would continue with this part um, in which we would basically collect all that information. By the way, guys, you gotta see this. This is what we're gonna use throughout the next week. So the section section 1.3 is the actual application of what you are going to plan to for Monday. You see? So as you see here in the section 1.3, we've got the empty formats for you to fill in as you conduct your observations and interviews. You see? So that's it. So like basically what I have explained today with the section 1.2 is the whole planning of that of those interviews and observations. And the section 1.3 is the application of that, which means that you get, as you can see, you don't have to create formats or anything. You've got all the material you need here. You just need to specify what you want to say or what you want to talk about. You see? So that means that in the first week of October, we would start with the interpretation stage of our project. Okay, that is it, guys. Have you got any question about this? There you go, guys. So I was just notified that they're going to cut a supply in 15 minutes. So I think that's essentially what I wanted to share with you guys about this project. So what I would like you to do is to please start working on this today, because we need to have this for Monday. We need to have this planning for Monday. So on Monday, I will take some time to talk to each one of the groups so I can answer questions and everything. And then basically you will program the rest of the week for making these observations and interviews, and we will continue with our class here. So that means that in the in the class itself, we are not going to give it a lot of time, as that's something you were gonna do basically extra class. Yes, Johannes?
Teacher, and in what in Monday, until what page we have to do we have to
To work
tenemos que
on.
haberlo hecho. Ajá.
Well, as I said, guys, basically what you are going to prepare for Monday is the section 1.2, the whole section 1.2. So once you get here, you stop, you see? Because
Okay.
remember, the section 1.3 basically is applying your interviews and observations. So 1.3 here is the empty formats that you will use. So that means that you will do just on section 1.2. It's literally that. Yesterday, you were working on section 1.1. So you will start here, section 1.2, which is give me a sec. It's the page 11 of the format. And you would go all the way until the very last page of the section 1.2, which is this, which is the page 15, let's say. You will find all the instructions that you need there. So that's essentially it. Just follow the instructions just to see exactly what you need to do. But at the end of the day, apart from the instructions, remember that what you're gonna do today is to plan for the interviews and observations you will make. You will make some interviews and some of the observations to gather inspiration for your project. That is it, okay? Apart from that, guys, remember that's something you need to keep in mind. Feedback is so important when we are using design thinking. When we are using design thinking, all the ideas that people can give you are very, very important. So this preparation stage is super important because you're going to prepare to capture all these ideas, thoughts of people, and that's something that you really want to collect. There is another thing that I might say, guys. If you guys plan to interview people who don't speak English, you can prepare your interviews in Spanish with no problem. With no problem, because that would be actually a limitation, you see? So you can do your interviews in Spanish, and that's actually something very interesting there, because we might do some translanguaging there, as you may have answers to the interviews in Spanish, but we are going to analyze that also using both English and Spanish. So I believe that's something which is going to be very useful. And actually, we're gonna make a little introduction to that topic, to what translanguaging is. So that's something we will do in the coming weeks. That's it, guys. So no questions. No more questions, I mean.
Nope.
Okay, guys. So I trust you guys are going to do an excellent job. Let me just call the attendance right now before. Oh, yeah. So that's it. So we're gonna have like some sort of tutorial sessions on Monday, in which I will work with each one of the groups so we can cover this and we can answer any questions before you guys start, doing the application of these formats, of these instruments. So guys, Gerson Abril,
I'm here.
Tatiana Alvarez,
I'm here.
Daniela Arias,
I'm here, teacher.
Laura Bermúdez,
Good morning, teacher. I'm here.
hello, Ana María Buendía,
Here, teacher.
Andrés Felipe Bueno.
Here, teacher. Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, mister?
You do tutorials before classes or just
No,
no?
no. And by the way, that's something you can request directly to the coordination of the program, because the only ones who can give tutorial sessions are those professors and teachers who are full-time. So they are the ones, they get some schedules for that. But in our case, we don't have that time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Teacher.
There you go. Oh, give me a second. So Camila Abuya,
I'm here, teacher.
Erika Corredor. Erika not here. Alexander Cortés,
I'm here, teacher.
Tatiana Spitia. Tatiana Espitia, no. Valeria Fonnegra,
Here, teacher.
Miguel Ángel Forero,
Hello, I'm here.
hello, Mr. John Gonzalez,
I'm here, teacher.
Claudia Goyes,
Present.
Ashley Huesa,
Here, teacher.
Diego Llano,
Here, teacher.
Daniel Machuca,
Hello, good morning.
hello, Mr. Johanet Martinez,
Present.
Angie Martinez,
Present, teacher.
Nicolás Medina,
I'm here, teacher.
Clara Monroy,
Present, teacher.
Alexander Mutis, Camila Navarro, Magdalena Ojeda, Dylan Páez,
Present, teacher.
Diana Palacios,
Here, teacher.
Lina Rodríguez,
I'm here, teacher.
Angie Rodríguez,
Here, teacher.
David Torres,
Here, teacher.
María Alejandra Triana, María Alejandra not here, okay. Angie Valero, Diana Baloyes.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Okay, guys. So that's essentially what I wanted to share with you. I'm sorry about this electricity thing, but believe me, I've been suffering this week a couple of times before. And even on Wednesday, I left and I went to work in a different place because they were going to make this maintenance and they didn't come. So there you go. So guys, that's it. That's what we're gonna do. I'm going to share this recording right now. So I hope I can upload it, yes, before they cut the supply. So you can check the explanations later if needed. But anyways, on Monday, we're gonna check this in case you've got questions. That's going to be the time for that. Okay, guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if you've got any other question throughout the day, you can just leave it on the WhatsApp group and I'll try to answer later today, okay?
Okay, teacher.
So guys, have a good one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Have
Bye,
a nice
teacher.
day.
Thank you. Have a
Bye.
nice
You guys have a good
teacher.
one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye.